Hello and welcome to another Warhammer Wednesday video. In this video I will be reviewing Roboute Guilliman. Here he is, the first Primarch that Games Workshop have produced in plastic, and he is incredible. I wasn't a huge fan when I saw the images and the pictures that Games Workshop had made. Wasn't a fan at all, but in person he's definitely a lot more impressive. This whole set, I might add, is very easy to put together. If you've built a Space Marine before, this is going to be quite simple to you, because all three models can only be built sort of one way. Unlike Space Marines, where you can move the hips about and the arms and the gun and the heads and things like that. These you can't. It's pretty much one way or no way. So yeah, you sort of build up his legs, his chest area, his arms are all separate things. He's got this lovely iron halo. He's got the Emperor's sword that's on fire. I'll talk about the rules and things in a moment. He's got this eagle that he's stepping on, or perching on. He's got this incredible power pack that's sort of keeping him alive. And he's got these torches. There's lots of detail on the base, including this fallen Space Marine, Chaos Space Marine, I think. So yeah, I mean, absolutely stunning model. And it's actually my first Primarch. I haven't yet purchased a Primarch from Forge World. I will do in the future, and a couple of people asked me which one I would get, and I've replied. So yeah, I can't really compare him to another Primarch, but I can compare him to, I say, a normal Space Marine, Cypher. That just gives you some sort of impression of how big a Primarch is to a Space Marine. I know they're not to scale and things, but there you go. Space Marine is about 7 or 8 foot, and Primarch, as you can see, is well over 10. I'd say 11, 12 foot maybe. And remember, he is sort of standing on a base, which just makes him even bigger. But there you go, that's sort of a size comparison with good old Cypher. There's no real fiddly bits other than these bits here, which are connected to the sprue, so you just got to be careful clipping them. I actually broke one of them, but I've glued it and you can't notice. And likewise, one of the torches snapped off just when I was brushing the plastic dust off. It snapped, so glued that back. So just be wary. There's a couple of pieces on here that are quite brittle, but easily repaired. So there you go. Lovely looking model. I much prefer him with his helmet on, and he just looks like a giant Space Marine with that, just completely pimped out with a ridiculous sword. The Emperor's sword, which is bigger than a Space Marine, could easily cut Space Marines in two or whatever. And this huge power fist with this sort of heavy bolter of doom. So let's go on to the rules. He'll set you back 350 points, 100 points more than a Land Raider. It's an awful lot of points for just one model. But it's probably one of my most expensive points costs for a plastic model now, just off the top of my head. So his profile, he's got a weapon skill 9, ballistic skill 6, strength 6, toughness 6, 6 wounds, initiative 6, attack 6, and leadership 10, and save of 2+. So he's got a lot of 6s there. Hopefully he's not related to Chaos or a bad guy or anything like that, but there you go. So special rules: Adamantium Will, Chapter Tactics, Eternal Warrior, Fearless, Feel No Pain, Fleet, Precision Shots, Precision Strikes, and Preferred Enemy Chaos. Chaos includes Demons, Space Marines, or Khorne, Demonkin factions. Lord Commander of the Imperium. Friendly units from the armies of the Imperium reroll failed morale checks, fear, and pinning tests while he's on the battlefield. That's impressive. Armies of the Imperium. They can reroll all of those. Primarch of the 13th Legion. You can choose to enact the Devastator, Assault, and Tactical Doctrines once per game. When one of these doctrines is enacted, all Ultramarine models in your army are affected. Unyielding Will. His leadership is not subject to negative modifiers of any kind, and he may reroll deny the witch tests. That's pretty awesome. Warlord trait, absolute mastery. He has all of the command traits from Warhammer 40,000, the rules. All of the command traits. All of them. Relics of Ultramar. He has the Emperor's Sword and Hand of Dominion. Now, the Emperor's Sword is a Strength 10, AP 1. It's melee armor bane, concussion, soul blaze, touch of the Emperor, and whirling flame. Would you expect anything less as a Strength 10 AP 1 weapon? The touch of the Emperor. Any attacks that hit with a 6, you get a Strength D. And he's got 6 attacks. Whirling flame. In the fight sub-phase, rather than making attacks normally, he can make a number of attacks with this weapon against each enemy unit engaged in the combat, equal to the number of models from that unit within 1 inch of him. So that's pretty good. So, get a few more attacks around there. The Hand of Dominion is a ranged weapon, but also a melee weapon, and it can be used both in the same turn. So it's a range 24 inches, so not too bad. It's strength 6. But it is AP 2. It's assault 3 and it's rending. And remember, its ballistic skill 6 as well, so it's hitting on 2s. It's not master crafted though, and neither is the Emperor's Sword. And you'd really think that they'd both be master crafted, but they're not. So he won't be able to reroll his attacks if he misses. Will he miss though with weapon skill 9? Who knows? But neither of them are master crafted. Maybe they missed that out because they clearly are master crafted. So it talks about the Hand of Dominion being a ranged weapon and a melee weapon, but it doesn't actually say how it is a melee weapon. It doesn't have a melee characteristic. So one can only assume that it's just a strength 6 fist that's got 3 attacks and that they're rending. Because it doesn't actually say, oh, it's a power fist or anything like that, which again is a bit of a shame. The Armour of Fate, the finest armourers of the Adeptus Mechanicus made this, and it fits him perfectly. So it's nice bespoke piece of armour. Basically means he gets a 3+ invulnerable, so 2+ normal, 3+ invulnerable. He's got the 6 wounds, he's got feel no pain, and he's Eternal Warrior. When he is slain, you place a marker at the spot at which he was slain. At the beginning of the next turn, you roll a dice. On a 4+, he's restored by his armour. So he's got a 50-50 chance. Even though he's got Feel No Pain, Eternal Warrior, 2+, 3+ Invulnerable, even after all of that, he's got a 50-50 chance that the armour's restored him. Even if you kill him. You place him as close as possible to the marker, more than 1 inch from any units, with D3 wounds remaining. So not only all of that, he can come back on a 50-50 on 4+, and then on a 5+, he gets a 3 wounds as well. So then you're back to this 2+ normal, 3+ invulnerable. Otherwise, he is slain. So if he doesn't pass that 4+, then he is slain. And if the marker's on a battlefield at the end of the game, he's considered to be slain. It just says if he is slain, and it doesn't give a limit to any of that. I'm not saying it'll happen, because you have to knock his 6 wounds off and get through all those saves and all the rest of it. But let's just say you did completely annihilate him. I don't know, you just fired a D weapon at him, and you killed him. He obviously has a chance of getting him up the next turn, and the next turn, and the next turn. However long your game is, there's no limit to that. So that's where he is definitely better than sort of Saint Celestine in terms of taking wounds. She took wounds, so the Gemini took wounds for her, and obviously there's a bit of a limit for her coming back. But obviously with Guilliman, there is none. So yeah, he's 350 points, but he is an absolute tank. And I think the rules do reflect that. Pretty much got a missile launcher on his left hand that's an Assault 3 rending weapon. He's got the Emperor's Sword, which on 6s, and if you charge in with 7 attacks, that you could get 1 or 2 hits with you could get 1 or 2 6s for it to be a D weapon. Yeah, his rules do reflect the cost. 100 points more than a Land Raider, he's got a lot of potential there, of getting his points back, definitely. And you could throw him against any assault unit in the game, and he'd come out pretty well, just because he's so survivable. His weapons are quite decent, but he's got a good stat line too. He's very well balanced, I'd say. Unlike the model itself, very well balanced. Okay, that is the end of my review for Roboute Guilliman, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, and now the Lord Commander, the big cheese, the main guy of the whole entire Imperium. So he's got a list, and he'll be checking it twice, is what I'm going to leave you with. Anyway, thanks ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Guilliman protects. The Emperor protects.